Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Money Cure Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Robert Grant. So happy to have you here with me at this point in time, this amazing point in time. And guys, I just want to tell you, I am so thrilled. I am so excited. I am so over the moon happy because today's topic and subject or episode is something that is truly phenomenal when we begin to really embrace, but just not only embrace, but rely on this concept. It is something for the ages that can take an individual from poverty, struggling, hardship, to prosperity, wealth, happiness, joy, all that amazing stuff. And I'm so happy to teach this to you and just share it with you rather more than teach it, because it enables me to embrace it a lot more as well and to learn about it. It's just something that I'm truly passionate about, and I definitely want to get to sharing it with you today. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for your donations. It is greatly appreciated. You are greatly appreciated. Thank you for being so kind. Thank you for tapping into that stream of love that shows up as the form of money. Every little bit helps. Every bit, it's not even little, but every bit helps. Every bit is appreciated. So thank you for that. I always want to make sure I take the opportunity to do that for you guys that are just on a consistent basis showing support. Absolutely amazing in every sense of the word. So for that, thank you so much. So let's get into this, okay? So spiritual substance and its prospering power. Spiritual substance and its prospering power. So what do we mean by spiritual substance? Okay? So when we say spiritual substance, basically we are talking about, not basically, specifically, we are talking about every single atom, every single wave, particle, molecule, every single inch of this universe is spiritual substance. And the beauty of it is for you and for I is that all of it looks exactly the same as it is spiritual substance in its formless state. Okay? You've heard me say divine formless energy. So this ties right into it, but I want you to really get down. Everything is the same. Spiritual substance is the same as it relates to energy. So what does that mean for me, you might be asking? That means whatever it is that you want to have more of, manifest in your life, it's a possibility when you learn how to tap into the spiritual substance. And when I say tap into, it's not something that's even really difficult to do. The challenging part comes in putting more of your trust and faith in it, especially if you've been taught to do things a certain way. Okay, so but when I think of this concept and I think of the power it has to, like we said in the beginning, elevate us to an entirely new level of existence, okay? An entirely new level of existence within our finances, within our relationships, within our health, within our emotions, our friendships, everything. Spiritual substance is everything. Okay? Scientists call it ether. It's been referred to from religious standpoint as the kingdom of heaven, or not even religious, but a spiritual standpoint as the kingdom of heaven at times. Jesus referred to it as that, which is really quite amazing when you think of what the kingdom of heaven actually is, like when you really get down to it. So, but my thing is to show you today how this becomes prospering power for you, okay? And so it's in the understanding that it not only covers this universe, it covers the multiverse. And not only that, spiritual substance is God. So it's so expansive that there's no way of measuring how expansive it is. All we do know that it is inexhaustible. And you know what inexhaustible is, guys? Inexhaustible means that it can never, not even come close to being exhausted at all. It can't run out. There's no way you can run out of this stuff, right? And so if it seems like I'm extraordinarily passionate about what this is, it's because I understand and I've been able to use its power within my own life, right? And so I want to give you a story here, or just an example. So for the longest time, I loved the concept of wealth and prosperity and abundance. I've loved it. I've had such a passion about it, and I've always read stuff about it, and I've always bought books on it, and it has been something that has truly been just as important as anything in my life, give or take, and I love it. I just love it. And so for me, there was a time where it was really hard to figure out, well, how am I really going to learn to prosper like I want to, right? It's one thing to experience prosperity and you say, okay, that was good. It's another thing to experience prosperity and be like, whoa, that was amazing. I can't wait for more of that, or I'm excited to have more of that. And so I wanted to get to that second part of being in this place where I would prosper. When I say prosper, basically the manifestation of abundance in financial form, in such a way that money would just be an afterthought. Money would just be something that whenever I needed, it was available and it was there. And when I wanted to give like I wanted to, I could give it to individuals. I can make sure that, they would have what they needed if it was, in my highest good to do that. But I never wanted it to be the crutch that it was. And part of this was just how I grew up and experiencing a lot of the hardships and struggles that I did. So it made me even more passionate about finding out, okay, let me debunk why some people prosper enormously and why some people continue to struggle. And what I found is that it has everything to do with spiritual substance. Okay? So if you're like me, you get into things like the law of attraction. You get into things like metaphysics, and you find yourself in a way sort of discovering things that, the best way to put it, sort of sporadically work. Okay? And what I mean by sporadic, it produces, but then it doesn't produce. And there's a reason for this, right? The reason this happens, the reason why, let's say you're a law of attraction expert, and you're manifesting some things, but then there's some things you just can't manifest. In my opinion, this is my opinion, I feel like it's because you are being led to go to a higher level. And what might that higher level be? That higher level is the understanding of spiritual substance. Okay? Because I would be in positions to manifest certain things, and it would make me happy, but then I just knew there was something missing after that thing would manifest. And the reason why was because my focus was more on the physical aspect and the form part of everything and not the formless. All right? So, in understanding that I needed a shift, I needed to shift myself from thinking green dollar signs, euros, pesos, Canadian dollars, pounds. I had to move that from that aspect, focus on that aspect, to the God substance to the spiritual substance. Okay? Because here's the thing. Here's what is so just, I say amazing, but there's words, the words don't even describe it. What is absolutely beyond mind-blowing about spiritual substance, divine substance, God substance, formless substance, is that, one, as we talked about, and I reiterate it because I want you to know this, it looks the exact same on an invisible level, right? It looks the exact same on an invisible level. And what does that mean? That means that the house that you want looks the exact same as the car that you want, looks the exact same as, the friends you have, looks the exact same as the pets you have, looks the exact same as, the entire city of Chicago. It looks the exact same, right? The exact same. Nothing is different about this, and it spans. It spans multiverses. Not just one universe, but multiverses. As a matter of fact, we can't even measure it, so it goes even far beyond that. So it is infinite, safe to say. And this is the energy that creates everything. But here is the most phenomenal part about it. It responds. It responds to your deeper feelings, aka your beliefs and convictions, and more importantly, where you place your faith. Okay? This energy can be summed up as a love force. Because this is why love is the most powerful force in the universe. And the universe is only going to operate in love. It can't operate in hate. It can't operate in any of these other areas. At its core, it is true and unconditional love, which means what? This energy, this substance is primed to give us whatever we need and desire in living a fulfilled life. Okay? And it is set up to respond. It's set up to respond to whatever it is that you choose, but you must be in connection to it. And how do you do that? Well, we talked about the kingdom of heaven. Speaking from a spiritual standpoint, Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all its righteousness. Righteousness means right thinking, right living, right conditions, and everything will be added unto you. Right? So he was saying, basically, if you're not a spiritual person, connect to this formless substance, this energy, right? And set it up to where you connect to the love that it is, and you allow it to open itself up to your life or manifest as whatever it is that you're choosing. So, the money cure. If we want more money in our lives, if we feel like we're lacking, there's no lack in the universe, right? There's no lack within the divine mind. There's no lack whatsoever. Lack means that we are deliberately pushing away our abundance because we're choosing to have faith in something other than this divine spiritual substance. Okay? So I keep saying spiritual substance. It's basically just another name for God. If you understand the true concept of God, all things aside, God is a loving, benevolent force that is available everywhere, that is everything at all times, in all places. It is not even a locality sort of situation when it comes to God. God just is. Anything that's even remotely perceived, God is. And then not only that, this energy that lies beneath the surface, this formless divine substance that lies beneath the surface, God is that, and is set up to respond to whatever your convictions, faith, and belief is. This substance is so powerful, So powerful. Why? Because if you look outside and you see a building, it's made of this substance. You look at your own body, it's made of this substance. If you look at people walking around, substance. Everything is substance, right? And it does that. It is, I don't want to say obsessed, but its main focus is to create in love. And here's where you come in with that. You make your focus, your primary focus, you connect with this substance. You do as Jesus says, seek the kingdom of heaven first. And you connect with this substance and you make your intention. It is my intention to create with love through this divine spiritual substance. And you really allow that to resonate. Your life is going to transform. And it's going to transform first by all of a sudden you're going to feel like this overwhelming sense of peace because the substance within you will have awakened to the truth of what you are, which is pure love, right? This is why love can just basically do absolutely anything in this universe because the substance itself, the energy point field, if you want to call it, the formless essence of God, it's programmed to respond to love. Even if you're doing something that's not in your best interest, guess what? Love shows you your mistakes so you can rectify them and get back into alignment. So it's still working in love. It's infallible in that aspect, right? It's infallible in that aspect. And it basically begins to open us up to a life that we have never imagined. Why? Because we're choosing to put this aspect, this essence above everything else. I was reading a book from Charles Fillmore, Prosperity, the other day, and he talked about how don't look at this. It's how did he put it? He basically said, this is bigger than your bank account. This is bigger than the money that you have. This is bigger than any house or car or anything. It's bigger than everything. Put your faith into that. Put your faith into this substance and you will find everything else will follow effortlessly. And I want to piggyback on that because, here's the thing that I really wanted to get to. If you remember nothing else in this podcast, I want you to remember this. This substance, and this is my revelation from it, it shows us that the divine has answered all prayers, has answered every need by giving us everything on an infinite level, an inexhaustible supply. God has already answered any prayer you could ever have. It's already here. It's already available. You know the scripture, how it says, before you have called, I have answered, or according to his riches and glory, all my needs are met. The riches and glory is the substance, which means that the need you have for rent is met. The need you have for your phone bill is met. The need you have for every single thing in your life is already met. And what is that called? That's called the God consciousness. Why? Because we just said it. God just is. God lacks nothing. There is no God can be here but can't be there. God can be everywhere, everything, all things, all at once for eternity. Now, if there's lack in that, then you just got to show me because I don't see it, right? But understand, God is this energy. So if we understand that, when we really understand the totality of that statement, it makes the needs we have feel so much smaller. Like, in retrospect, it's like, damn, okay, like, When it's like, when you look at it like that, it's just like, why am I struggling again? If I live in a world where the universe is this massive, where God is this omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, why am I struggling? I'm struggling because I'm putting my faith in things that will wash away. I'm putting my faith in things that will pass. I'm telling you guys, I struggled with money for a very long time until I realized that it wasn't really about money that I was struggling with. It was about where I was placing my faith. And when you put your faith into things that wash away, when you put your faith into things that cease to exist, or that have an expiration date. Let's put it that way. When you put your faith in things that have an expiration date, guess what? You're going to have some issues. You're not going to have issues, but you're going to build attachment to something and it's going to fall away. So what do? We put our faith in this substance. We put our faith in this God substance. We put our conviction. We adopt the God consciousness, which says every need has been met. Every desire has been met since the beginning of time. I tell you, I switched my consciousness to this. And all of a sudden, I go through my entire day filled with peace. I used to get so nervous. Checking my account, thinking, oh my God, it's dwindling down. What am I going to do? I got to do this. I got to do that. Really? And then I learned, since the beginning of time, every need has been met because God can only be God. He can't be anything else, which means that everything that he is, everything that we just talked about, he is, was, it's always been that way. There's never been a time when he's not been, when that spirit has not been, when that energy has not been. It was the very first thing here in the invisible, so nobody even saw it. It didn't even see itself. It had to know itself, so it began to create these things into form. But in order to do that, it had to move in love, right? And what does love ultimately say? And this kind of brings it together. But what does love ultimately tell us? You can look at any good relationship, any good situation that involves love. If we look at the core value of what it tells us, here is what it tells us. I will provide in an unselfish way to ensure that you are at peace. That's what this energy does. I will provide every single thing you need because of my love and ensure that you are filled with joy and peace. That is what this substance does, right? But because of free will, we get a chance. It can also bring some bad stuff. It can also make us broke because it's impressed by what we choose to believe, what we choose to have faith in. So if you're walking around having faith in lack, having faith in the coronavirus is tearing up the economy, you're placing your faith in that as opposed to this divine substance that just can't know lack under any circumstance. Think about that. It can't know lack. It just can't. The entire thing would fall apart if at any point in time it knew lack. So in knowing that, which one are you going to put faith in? The thing that's been knowing how to be abundant for like eternity, knowing how to prosper for eternity, knowing how to create things for eternity, or are you going to put your faith in, I might not have enough. I just don't know. I don't know if I can afford this. I don't know if I can. No, not a chance. You put your faith in that substance. You put your faith in that divine, godlike, indestructible, immovable force of substance. And you have faith in that, right? And when something rises up in your intuition, the desire, you move to it without hesitation. Why? Because that is that substance letting you know that whatever it is you're desiring is already done, right? When I learned this, my prayers shifted. When I learned how to get into the God consciousness, my prayers shifted. It shifted from, oh, Lord, give it to me, Father. I need it. I need your help. To, thank you, Father, for always hearing my prayer. Thank you for always answering my prayer. For everything that I need is right here, right now. And I wait patiently in peace as it comes to me, as it manifests under grace in a perfect way. Thank you. And I experienced peace. And that was a done deal. And that's the shift that I made. And you know what happens? You do that and you don't go through the day worrying, wondering, well, is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? Are we going to have this? Is that going to work? Oh, God, what are we going to do? No, not at all. Substance predicates every single need, desire, want even has already been met. Has already been met. Right? All we need to do, this is how intelligent the God force is. All we need to do is connect to this energy. Right? You can start by saying this affirmation alone. But first and foremost, you always want to make sure you just get into a peaceful state, because this is where it thrives. It thrives through peace. It thrives through ease. It thrives through relaxation. Get into a relaxed state. And then once you're in that relaxed state, say, I am one with the indestructible, immovable substance of God. And if you have trouble with God, I am one with the indestructible, immovable substance of the divine, right? Or substance of the universe. Change it up however you want to say it, but say it and feel it, because that's the thing that's going to make the difference, is that you feel it. Because here's the thing. When all of a sudden your faith goes to substance, you're not running around here attached to things. You're not running around here attached to the money that's in your bank account. You're not running around here attached to the money that you feel like somebody owes you. Why? Because it doesn't matter. Because the control center or the command center that's actually operating all of it can move the energy to where it works out in your favor. And it becomes the most amazing shift, because it goes from manipulation, getting everybody to try to give you something, to I can just relax. I know that my needs, my financial needs, especially, have been met since the beginning of time. I'm just waiting for them to manifest, because this energy tells me that there is no lack, never, not a chance at any point in time. There's only abundance in the mind of God. There can never be any lack. So when we start seeing lack, guess what? We got to get back into cohesion, into coherence with the divine substance, which is the mind of God, which is God himself or itself. It's not even a him. It's not even, we always say himself. I say that a lot too, because I identify with God as a father figure, but it just is. It's not a him or her. It's actually both combined, And there's so much power in that. There's so much power in that when you learn to accept that as it is. And I'm telling you, the God consciousness, if you do nothing else, God consciousness is where it's at. God consciousness is where it's at. John W. Adams wrote an article and he said, God's consciousness is your supply. And I sit and I think to myself, what the hell does that mean? And so I read the article, didn't understand it. Read it again, didn't understand it. Read it a third time, didn't understand it. Waited. Read it again, it finally clicked. God's consciousness is your supply, right? And so what does that mean? That means if I put on the armor of God, as the Bible says, or the mind of God, which is tapping into this substance, if I do that, all of a sudden, I realize what? All my needs are met according to his riches and glory, to my riches and glory, right? The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. Why do I lack nothing? Because in the consciousness of the God force, I lack nothing. Everything is here for me. Everything is here for me to enjoy, for me to live the very best life that I can. So why am I stressing? Why am I at war with the very thing that's attempting to help me? Are the questions we have to ask. And if you're struggling financially, take all your attention off money, credit cards, debt. Take all the attention off of all of that, right? Take it all off. Don't even give it a second thought. Don't even think that appearances play any role in your life in being rich, prosperous, and wealthy and abundant, because they don't. They don't. The only thing that plays a role is how you identify. When you identify with the abundant substance that controls it all. And I'm telling you, it works in love. In love, part of love is wealth, is riches, is giving you more than enough to have enough to spare and to share and to do the things that you desire to do. So if it's not showing up like that, then guess what? We've got to tap into that spiritual substance. We've got to put our faith in that. And if it helps to say God, put your faith in God. Make God your one and only source. Think nothing of needs. Remember, God's consciousness meets our needs. It is our supply because it knows, and this is where we got to get it down deep with conviction and faith and knowing, have that same knowing, all needs are met in the consciousness of the Father. All that the Father hath is mine. I and the Father are one. All things are mine that are the Father's. That is God's consciousness. That means that guess what? If all things are mine, I'm lacking nothing. And if I can get that down in my spirit, if I can get that down in my subconscious mind and just know that, I tell you, it works so lightning fast. It will blow your mind. And if there's any sign of lack within your life, guess what? That money shows up so fast. That person shows up. That resource shows up without question because you have shifted into the consciousness of God. Guys, it's that simple. It's that simple. It's not always easy, but it's that simple. Take on the consciousness of God, and I promise you, you won't have another money worry ever in your life. And if you do, he will help you through it until you reach a place where you're just at peace, chilling, waiting for money to flow in, waiting for money to show up in your life. Why? Because you deserve it. You are worthy. God made you worthy even before you set foot in this world, even since the beginning of the time. He gave us that worth. He told us, you are made in the image and likeness of me, which means everything I am, everything I have, everything I can do, you can do as well. And that particularly pertains to the abundant life, right? So it's time for us to embrace that. Embrace the substance. Recognize the substance. Use those affirmations. Understand this substance is here to help you to prosper and be your best. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. It has been a pleasure. We'll holler at you soon. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.